Hello. Hello, dearly beloved. It's gonna be a fairly typical video. Yeah, you guys know how I do. Gotta sit here and look at, make sure my notes and shit are in order. So if you're neurodiverse, you don't have a people. You don't have a country. None of that shit. We're not team players. We don't fit in. And the world hates our guts. It's hard for me to work with people in particular in the employment context, because the vast majority of people are unfair, disingenuous, insecure, disrespectful, and frankly stupid. So, but let's say life starts with a shuffled deck of cards and all the cards represent superficial traits. If you shuffled that deck and got dealt the 7 or, whatever the amount of cards you get in the beginning, the first card says black. So this means you enter life as a black person. The next cards say bald. So you're going to go bald. Male. So you're a male. Neurodiverse. That would be hands down one of the worst possible hands to enter the game with. Neurodiverse people aren't hated enough, so let's just make this one go bald too for good measure. The entire world is designed to eliminate neurodiverse males. Period. Wherever you go, you're a burden. It doesn't matter how inconsequential your presence actually is, unless you're offsetting your lack of worth and disposability with money, then nobody cares. If you're lucky, your family will give you some leg room, but that's about it. So, the only way you're gonna live long, like the world wants you to do, is to be a NEET and to lay down and rot. Because life is too much effort for some people. It really is. Being neurodiverse is like being gay or something. Gay people obviously feel like they're more or less born that way. You can't force yourself to be straight. I can't force myself to be neurotypical. I can try, I can masquerade myself, but ultimately I am what I am. And it's obvious to anybody who meets me that I'm different. Even if I put my best normie mask on, pretending to be a normie all the time would be so mentally taxing as to not be worth whatever benefit I would get from it. I'll say that again. Pretending to be a normie all the time would be so mentally taxing as to not be worth whatever benefit I would get from it. And that's why I don't bother, for the most part. It's an invisible disability. Unless you start yelling and breaking shit and punching people in the face, it won't be recognized as a disadvantage. Normies only care about the superficial economic consequences and shit. Nothing deeper than that. They don't understand how cruel it is to expect a neurodiverse person to function perfectly in this world. And yeah, a lot of this psych stuff is BS, and neurodiversity is probably at least somewhat a byproduct of social rejection, which is probably a byproduct of looks. But it's obvious that some people's brains are just wired differently. But hey, would it not be easier for me to be neurotypical? If I could. So why haven't I naturally done that yet? Why can't faggots just be straight? Obviously people are inclined to the path of least resistance, so this ND shit really isn't an act. So yeah, bitch, I'm suicidal. So what? I have every right to be, and I don't want to hear anybody's bullshit or platitudes about how I shouldn't feel like that, blah, blah, blah. Those people have no idea what my life is like or how much I have to struggle every day, especially with the neurodiverse shit. As of late, I haven't been that miserable, to be honest, but that shit comes and goes. And like when it comes, it's really hard. Anyways, obviously I'm still here, so it's like, who cares? Suicide is some hard shit. I'll say the only reason I haven't done it is because I'm scared, but I know I'm not afraid of death because I've had enough nigh death situations where I was fine, and I was just like, all right, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I can't do anything at this point, so what's the point in lamenting? I wasn't panicking or anything. So I mean, I think the reason I haven't done it is the gene. Like, there's this whole concept in certain circles about how the gene is its own entity. So it's like your DNA is an entity unto itself. I guess you could look at it as ego too. So it's like, as long as there's even a sliver of a chance for the gene to reproduce, just on a biological or Darwinian level, it's hard to end your life. We're like puppets to our biology. Of course, I don't want kids and all that, but it's like, I want sex, right? So our interests can be at odds with our genes. And the powers that be get this, and this is how they manipulate us. It's like, oh, you want some pussy? Okay, get some money. Oh, you want some money? Get a job. Oh, you want a job? Make yourself presentable. Follow these social protocols. Blah, blah, blah. What it really comes down to in this world, though, is being wanted or unwanted. Men kill themselves because most of us aren't really wanted. We're disposable. And I'm tired of being chill all the time in the face of the constant bullshit that's being thrown in my face. No one tells roasties to be more stoic. Meanwhile, the things that they complain about are 100 times more inconsequential than what men complain about. But if we complain about not getting laid or whatever, it's seen as pitiful. Anyways, we all know it comes down to just how wanted you are, and what determines that is looks, demographic privilege, and so on. I'll put it like this. Let's say you're renting a place in New York City. Obviously, a lot of people want the place. Let's say all the people have the same income and are equally nice to have as tenants in terms of their personality and stuff. And it's like, none of these categories are mutually exclusive from one another. It's like, what determines how nice a person is, right? It's largely it's how nice other people treat them. How nice other people treat them is based on looks and stuff like that, right? So I'm just saying, all right, let's say that these things exist more or less in a vacuum, which I'm not saying they do, but just for the sake of example. Anyway, so you got all these tenants, same income, same personality. What breaks the tie in that case is appearance and shit like that. Like, a girl who's an aspiring model is gonna get that shit over me, or a neurotypical Chad Light or whatever. My brain is obviously wired differently. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or say that I'm special. It's just true. I never liked school. I'll put it like this. The amount of effort I spent avoiding school greatly exceeds the amount of effort it takes for a normal person to just suffer through it. Yes, everyone hates school, but not everyone hates it as deeply as a social outcast or a neurodiverse person. That shit actually leaves mental and emotional scars for us. It's abuse. Like, having guidance counselors and shit tell you that the reason that you want to drop out of school is because you're lazy. Like, people who clearly have no understanding of the kinds of stresses that an ND person deals with, or how much mental effort it takes to do the shit that normies just take for granted. And that's to say nothing about all the other bullshit that goes on in school, like bullying and all that. But it's like the whole school is kind of bullying you. Because again, as I said, like, they want to destroy neurodiverse males. As dramatic as that sounds, it's true. I'm not saying they're shooting us in the streets, but it's more of like a subtle oppression. Like social alienation and shit like that. Anyways. Women really don't understand how drastically different their existences are from ours. Especially women who have some kind of privilege. Whether they're rich, attractive, light-skinned, in shape, or whatever. For example, I saw one of my aunts for the first time in 16 years, approximately. And it was a family affair. We were talking about race and heritage and shit like that. And my aunt was basically like, anytime I see a Chinese person on the street, I'm like, hey, boo. And me, of course, being the asshole I am, I was like, yeah, you have the complexion to do that. And she kind of dismissed it like I'm talking nonsense. But it's not just complexion, it's also gender. The incels are totally right. Your looks are your life. All this shit is integrated. Obviously, she was exaggerating. She doesn't do that to every Chinese person, but I can't even imagine a reality where I would feel slightly comfortable doing that. A black man is like the last thing Chinese people want to see in their neighborhood. And I've been around enough Chinese to know that they're racist as fuck and will follow you around the store and shit. Anyways, I kept bringing up hair discrimination too, and it's like the context I brought it up in was sort of a joke, because obviously it would be awkward otherwise. But yes, obviously going bald decreases your quality of life immensely. And I was just talking about it, like, if I knew that would happen, I would bought some cream or some shit. But I was still blue-pilled, I guess. The world lies to us, but it's usually lies of omission. It's probably not even so much that people lie, but rather they never tell the truth. I didn't think it really mattered that I was going bald. I mean, I certainly didn't give a shit. So yeah, I'm considering going back to kneading. I have no idea how I'm going to do that in my current situation. I think I just get bored easily. Like, life is fucking boring as fuck. And I'm gonna get into this a little deeper, but I don't like doing the same shit all the time. I don't even really hate my job or anything like that, but the shit is getting unbearably boring. And I work outside, so you can only imagine how bad it would be if I worked in an office. I'm like the character Kaido from One Piece. Well, if you don't know what that is, which you most likely don't, he's like this character who's extremely depressed and he's always trying to kill himself, but he's too strong to kill himself, so he can't kill himself because his his body is too strong or whatever. And he wants to start a war just for the sake of starting a war because he feels like the war is too boring. And like, this character is like, so he's also an extreme alcoholic, so it's like I actually relate to that character so much. The only difference is that, like, I'm not like cruel or brutal, which this character is. But I guess I could be given the right if it was somebody I disliked enough, or if I was drunk enough or whatever. Anyways, obviously everyone should work in some capacity. It's about work-life balance though. I'm fairly comfortable where I am right now, so I don't have to worry about leaning on somebody else. You know, I like that I don't have to worry about leaning on somebody else or some other entity or someone else's entitlement, since they feel like I'm deriving some monetary benefit living with them or blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm pretty much, you know, on my own at this point. And I'm not saying you have to be a wage cuck, because obviously that's fucked. But everyone should work in some way, shape, or form. And I'm going to get into that a little more, but anyways, like, you guys know how amazing it would be for me if this channel was profitable or something, so I could cover my basic expenses. My expenses are extremely low, even though I'm in New York City. Like, I'm renting a room right now. I don't have expensive taste whatsoever. I never have. I never will. I don't have the financial albatross around my neck like a woman or a house or a car or none of that bullshit. I do have lots of debt, but fuck that. I don't know who in the past generation... Damn, these notes are kind of scrambled, but it's fine. I don't know who in the past generation bought into this bullshit about education providing security. That's some blue pill bullshit. All this fancy shit they dangle in front of us It is just what they used to keep us slaving away. But I understood when I started this channel that the truth is not profitable. But I can only speak the truth, so you have to take the bad with the good. I couldn't consciously sit here, speak some bullshit just to make money like a car salesman. It's like, and money is used to purchase things too. So it's like, even if you don't realize it, when people start paying you, they feel entitled to certain things from you, and you feel obligated to give them what they're asking. Money can complicate situations, and then it's like your product isn't even really yours anymore. It belongs to whoever's paying for it. But if you're paying for it, it's yours. I'm paying for it, maybe not directly monetarily, but just the fact that I'm not making money off of this means I'm paying for it, essentially. And I'm paying for it in time, which is the ultimate resource in the end anyways. But of course I do enjoy doing this, obviously. But back to work-life balance. Obviously everyone should work in some way, shape, or form, as I said. Obviously wage cucking is bullshit, but you need an occupation. You need something to keep you occupied, or else what are you even doing? But I treat employment the way women treat relationships. I'm never working more than part-time. Every job is disposable to me. Like every man's disposable to women. I'm happy to lie to them to get what I want. Lie to the employer. Yeah. I'm either working part-time or not at all. And a friend of mine recently said, just work for the life that you want to have. Well, that's true. But the thing is, I don't want much. So the issue in this world is that people try to fool you. They've tried to fool you into saying, oh, you want more than you actually want. So, like I'm supposed to want Porsches and all that shit. I don't give a fuck about a Porsche. That shit is kind of ugly anyways. But of course women are tied up in this too, because what woman wouldn't pay special attention to a man who is driving a Porsche? But yeah, even part-time work is kind of annoying because every day is different. Sometimes all it takes is that one dumbass to ruin your day. People make the day stressful for me. I'm having to talk on the phone more than I used to with my old job for no good reason. Like my old job, they just let you be, You didn't really have to talk to them at all. And like I say, people are disrespectful fucks. Like, I don't like the tone you're using right now with all that bass in your voice and shit. Like you're being a little too bossy right now. But some people only understand confrontational tones. Like a lot of these people I work with have attitudes. And like there's a lot of people's attitudes that just rubs me the wrong way. Whether it's they're condescending, or they're really loud and like bossy, or sometimes bullies just need a good smack though. But I'm not confrontational. I let a lot of that shit slide just because I don't like people messing with my inner peace. But I do get confrontational if my patience reaches its limit. And that has happened recently. And, when you actually clap back at people, like when I clap back at this person that was making me angry, they've been nothing but respectful since. So it's like sometimes you really do need to just do that and get it over with. Even if you're not a naturally confrontational person and you like to keep your peace about you or whatever. Still gotta let people know, or else people will just walk over you, if you're a sub-7 man especially. Who looks like nerdy and young like I do. But anyways, like, people always want to lecture you on how to use your money too. Like, people who haven't done the math always want to encourage you to cook more food instead of eating out. But it's like, they're not factoring how time consuming that is. And it's like everybody could save more money. There's not a single person in the world who can't save more of their money. I could eat a can of peas with butter and rice once a day and save money. but I'm not fucking doing that. I could try to stop drinking. I'm not doing that. I could live in a shelter or on the street. I'm not doing that. Well, maybe I'll do that someday, but I don't know. Like, at some point, the lifestyle that you want to live inhibits you from saving. You can save, but at some point you have to live. Especially if you're one of these people with expensive tastes. Also, you can't save zero. By the time I'm done paying my expenses, I have very little left. I'm basically saving at a snail's pace. I'd rather make a lot of money and then I don't have to save because I'm making so much I can't even spend it all. And I don't have expensive tastes, so obviously that's even more money. You know, I don't have a wife. I don't go out like that. But you do tend to spend more if you make more. You see, this money shit is gay. People are hypocrites though, because a lot of the ones encouraging you to save are the most wasteful fucks, and they're too hypocritical to realize that. Like, a lot of people who would judge me on my diet, for example, too, are worse shape than me. You know? A lot of people who tell you to save are out here splurging unnecessarily, or they're in a situation where somebody's taking on all their living expenses, like a parent or something, and they can actually afford to save, or they got some scam going on and it's actually that's allowing them to save. I mean, whatever. Moving on. I think my serotonin receptors are messed up or something, so I might need some ayahuasca. I heard that's supposed to be good for that. So maybe that's why I'm always so bored and unsatisfied. Of course, this is, I don't, like, my previous rant is not a defense of neatdom, because that shit is miserable too, like I always say. The best way I can sum it up is that people aren't happy because they're neats. They're neats because they're unhappy. I can also put it like this. If I had a girlfriend, all the things that bother me about my current life situation would melt away. So maybe that's the real issue here. If I got laid consistently, I wouldn't care that I'm getting bored with my job or with my life, or that I don't want to pay rent, or like, none of that shit would really matter to me. I don't feel like that would matter because my general life experience would be so elevated by getting laid. That's why I might return to needing sooner than later, because it's too hard to work yourself out of bed when your most basic needs aren't even being met. If I had some more money saved, I'd probably just become a drifter or some shit. But the only thing that turns me off about that kind of life is that I would need to at least be able to shower. I can't walk around I can't walk around smelling like dog piss. That homeless smell is like, nah. And that smell kicks in sooner than you would hope. Like, I've had times where I just was just too lazy to wash my clothes, and I was outside a lot, and like that smell starts to creep up. That shit creeps in sooner than you would think. So that's why I don't judge homeless people for smelling like shit, because I know how that smell can come kick in pretty quick, especially if you have nowhere to go. You can't shower, do your laundry or anything, so it's like, what are you gonna do, walk around naked? Can't do that either. It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But anyways, as gay as New York is, I don't know if I'd want to live anywhere else for comfort and accessibility reasons. But life sucks regardless of where you are. Like, I mentioned accessibility, but like, what kind of access does a sub-7 male in a major city really have? I mean, I guess, yeah, I can use the subway or whatever the fuck, but Anyways, the best way I can describe getting laid consistently is that the lows in life aren't nearly as low. It's like, you think to yourself, alright, at least I have this. But when you're emotionally attached, the highs are super high and the lows are super low. That's why I don't think men should get financially or emotionally attached to women, because it never ends well. The best relationship a man can have with a woman is where he's not attached, especially emotionally, because women will let you down every single time without fail. Think about it. And I actually do have a relationship like this with a female. Anyways, think about it. Oh, by the way, thankfully I have had sex recently. Like 2 days ago. So that was good. I'm gonna ride that life fuel wave for like a good month. So that's probably why, of late I haven't been that sad. But anyways, obviously, every one of these women will cheat eventually. Cheating only hurts when you're emotionally attached. This is why the smarter chads have it made, because they can have a bunch of different girls. And they don't care who else slept with that girl, or if she sleeps with other guys, or even if she's actively sleeping with other dudes, aside from maybe the STD thing, right? And the reason he doesn't care is because he's got other girls. So, like, the only way he would care is if he's a sucker who got attached. And, Chad is not immune from that, but let's face it, that kind of emotional attachment is a byproduct of beta-ness. Men often get attached to women simply because they're desperate and they don't have other options. That's why women hate desperate men. They want the guy who has options. There's a great red pill saying that says something like, women don't want a man who can't cheat on them. Because that means low value. I mean, think about it like this. Let's say a Chad is fucking a thought and they're in a relationship, and she says, as many thoughts do these days, that she wants to open the relationship, which isn't even as likely to happen because women typically only ask that from undesirable betas. The normie looking guy who objects to the open relationship already lost because she obviously wants other guys. And the only reason he's objecting is because he values her. The only reason he values her is because he has no other bitches. So, subconsciously, women process this kind of information. The normie can pretend like he's cool with it and consent, but it's usually obvious that those dudes are only saying that they consent because they are attached and they don't want to lose the girl. They'd rather be in an open relationship than none. And that's why I think these women who suggest open relationships are the scum of the earth, because it's just manipulative to the core. They know they have these guys on a string, and they're just playing with their emotions and like creating a situation where they gain so much at the expense of this man who's in love. Meanwhile, she doesn't love this guy, she's using him. But a red pill Chad would probably agree to it and then fuck some other bitch. And then that same girl who wanted the open relationship is gonna have a mental breakdown. But that makes Chad's stock go up, because she sees how much other women want him. And that she sees he can have any other woman. Patrice O'Neal has a great joke about this with the, where he's talking about the fish, the man fishing. He makes this analogy with the fisherman in the boat. And that was in his special Elephant in the Room, I believe. It's worth a watch. Anyways, so that whole open relationship shit is a massive shit test, though. And if you don't know what that is, a shit test is basically when a woman tests a man's value. Like, if she tries to play with your emotions, she tries to see if she can make you cry or something like that. But really, it's just a test. She just wants to see how you'll react to it. She wants to see if she has a worthy man, like a strong man or whatever. Like, say if she makes fun of some physical characteristic of yours, if you get emotional and say, that really hurt my feelings when you said that I have a big head, or, something like that, you failed the shit test. Because likely the only reason that she makes fun of you like that is because she wants to see if she can get what kind of reaction she's going to get. And if you react emotionally, then you're showing that you're a low value man. But if you don't react at all, or if you amplify and deflect, or whatever the red pill guys say, like if you say, yeah, I got a big ass head, I should headbutt you. I should headbutt the shit out of you right now. Like, you passed the shit test because you're not getting emotional and you're not getting hurt by it. So she sees like, oh, this guy, subconsciously she feels like, oh, this guy is a strong man. This guy is a high status man or whatever. Anyways, I'd be seeing some happy ass old men. And they all, look young and healthy. I know I saw one of these dudes recently. Shit. But anyways, I'm trying to remember him, but I can't really. But it might come to me later. But anyways, they all have one thing in common. These old, young-looking, happy, healthy old men. They've never been married for a long time, and they're not married, most likely. So this whole incel thing, it has some perks, just some. A married man is lost to the world. As soon as he puts himself in that situation, he's inflexible. I mean, everything about even the words we use tells you this too. Like, why do we refer to wives as ball and chain? Because marriage is a prison for a man. We don't refer to husbands as that. H.L. Mencken said that any man with sense avoids marriage for as long as possible. Ideally forever. But then it's like we're kind of bargained into it because women use sex as like a carrot on a stick. Anyways, it's time magic too. Like, I know magic is like a buzzword these days, but as soon as a man, your power goes up over time, the woman's power goes down over time. Every cock she takes brings her value down. Don't get it twisted. Like, we live in a cucked ass world where people are saying it doesn't matter. But obviously it matters even to the cucks who say it doesn't, how many men a woman has been with. Even those same cucks are going to take the virgin over the thought every single time if given the option, which they don't really have the option. That's why they're so ready to kiss the thought's ass and tell her that it doesn't matter how many men she's been with. I don't know what men are thinking though. I mean, I guess we're thinking with our dicks. Prenups don't help either. Those Jewish lawyers will work around that shit. You think these bitches, who have a new best friend every 2 seconds, a new favorite band, a new trend that she's following, a new hairstyle, you think these bitches can keep a marriage intact? I mean, are you kidding me? Paperless marriage is the only way to go. But even with that, you have to watch out because palimony is a thing too, where you don't even have to be married. And this world is so fucked up that they'll probably still find a way to fleece you even if you're not married. It's biology. That's why I always tell girls, if you get pregnant, I'm out. They're gonna have to find my black ass. You might as well be in a literal jail at that point anyways, as opposed to the prison that is child support. Like, I mean, these unions used to be a little more sacred. These unions we call marriage. Because back in the day, the woman was held to certain obligations too. And that was enforced by social consequence, if nothing else. Or actually the law too, adultery used to be illegal and shit. Like, it was considered shameful if she cheated. But yeah, man. I don't want kids, but like, I'm not some hypocritical normie either. Like, I'm not going to be sitting there preaching all this anti-natalism and anti-pregnancy shit, and then next year I'm on Instagram making proud daddy posts and shit like that. That's not happening. Anyways, that's just about it from this video. It's a pretty standard obsidian pill video. I just had some stuff I wanted to talk about. So yeah, till next time.